Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of On Tyranny. My name is Kurt Orzek. I'm a music journalist of 28 years now, I guess, professional. And you are watching the latest installment of a series that I've been doing called On Tyranny. Started about 2 years ago when I started to get bad feelings that things might go awry in the future, and sure enough, they have. I'm not going to say that I told you so, but I told you so, and here we are. But the real purpose, the thrust of the series, for any of you who have um, not watched this before, is to talk with artists, musicians who, if you have any sort of familiarity with authoritarian regimes in history, artists, writers are among the first people that the government goes after. And so I've really been wanting to focus this series on talking with artists, how they're coping, how they're adapting, what they're thinking, and all that. And um, the series has been it's a considerably long series at this point. I think I've had about 100 artists, but I'm very, very grateful, excited, thrilled to welcome Parker Woodland today to the series because um, Parker's got a story that's unlike any other we've presented so far in the series, and very excited to hear about some of what you were just telling me before I hit record. So just to give you a little more background before we dive right in. Um, the band just released the band. You're based in Austin, right? Yeah.
We are.
Um,
Yeah, hi.
yeah, and you you just released I guess gosh, was that only Friday released?
Friday. I know time is wild. It was only Friday.
Wow, yeah, you released a cover of a song called "Police on My Back," which is kind of a classic punk cover. But it's you did it in reference to ICE specifically, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's and then so you really jumped into it. You didn't, sometimes when artists make songs that are political, sometimes they'll kind of like resort to allusions or metaphors, and you're just, this is direct communication that we do not agree with this, and this has got to stop. So I'm going to turn this over to you really, really at this point because I want you to tell people what you've been up to the last week, 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
please go away. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks. Thanks, Kurt. I'm happy to be here. My name is Erin Walter. I'm the lead singer and bass player, founder of Parker Woodland, and we're a rock trio. And our music has been centered in kind of a balance of justice messages and like love and joy. We really believe that those two things kind of have to go together if we're going to get through this. But our first song and the song that we're kind of known for as our like theme song or anthem is called "The World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love." And I wrote it back in 2018, grappling with the first Trump term and the just I was a journalist in my first career,
Oh,
a newspaper reporter, and so like the erosion of facts, truth, analysis, what I was really struggling with that, and as we still do, but was struggling with that back in 2018. So anyway, we've always been coming at our music trying to talk about what's happening in the world. But Police on My Back, our guitar player Andrew Solin suggested that as a cover back in 2024 when we were releasing our album There's No Such Thing as Time. So we started playing it live with our album release show, and it was the response to it was so powerful that, and we felt the importance of having a container to talk about abolition, to talk about policing, because we're interested in abolition across the board, not just of ICE, but in this moment where we chose to record the song at the end of last year, we absolutely felt like, well, in particular with what's going on with ICE. And here in Texas, we've been wrestling with this for so long,
Yeah.
and so we were just like, we really need to get this song out there. So we use that song. Like I jump out in the crowd during that song, and we, kind of during the breakdown, talk about how everyone deserves to live free of surveillance and all of that. So anyway, I could talk and talk about that forever. But I was last week at the what our folks in the community call a concentration camp, but the South Texas Residential Family Center or whatever. The day that, so I was part of the organizing group that did a vigil and a procession to that Dilly Center with Liam and Adrian from Minneapolis were
Right.
brought there. So we came to sing and to let them know that because they did a protest. People in the center did a protest over the
I
weekend.
saw that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're calling out, they're having the bravery and the courage, children and families in this center, in this concentration camp to cry out. So we were like, we have to go.
They were dressed in like blue and pink, right?
Yeah, the different colored suits that they have, it's like red, turquoise,
Sure,
pink.
sure.
Yeah, that you've seen the image. So
Uh-huh.
that's
Bird's
where
eye
we
view.
were.
Wow.
That's where we
Oh
were.
my gosh.
Um,
You're right
and
there.
it was a very powerful experience. We came with a very like peaceful intention to let those folks know that people on the outside heard their cries and that we were working for them. We sang this little light of mine, and we there's a chant that organizers in Minneapolis, which we have a lot of friends up there, that they did in Minneapolis, that we also did. So we're just trying to make all the connections, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And music is an important part of that. But as I was telling you when I got on the call, they did deploy, the troopers came out, with shields and basically riot gear, and they deployed a chemical agent. And this is the best my voice has sounded in 6 days. I was really worried. And I know people are still recovering, and it was extremely traumatic. And before I got on this interview, I was basically on a debrief call with the team of folks that I am with for that. And I think it's going to be a long time. Like there's just you like intellectually, you can know what state violence is doing to people, but to experience it,
Mhm.
I'm still processing it, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. One second here. I studied in Santiago, Chile, in college. I just studied abroad and 98. And this is a tear gas canister. I get tear gassed during one
Oh,
of the
wow.
protests down there. But yeah, I only show that to suggest
Yeah,
that like you when you feel the tear gas or agents in your eyes, you'll never forget the feeling of it, and you got to wash all the things out. But I just want to take a second here just to stop and kind of reiterate what you just said. So there is a 5-year-old child, US born, right?
I think so. I mean, I'm not even the details of, I just know that he was taken from his home and
Yeah.
brought here. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's actually not even beyond regardless of that. A 5-year-old child was taken and shipped to Texas with his dad and is in the detention center, or was, that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's been reports and photographs, Julian Castro, who I believe is one of the reps in
Hmm.
Texas,
Yeah,
yeah, he's big name in Texas.
he is.
He visited the facility and posted images, and it brings tears to your eyes because
Yeah.
the poor kid, Liam Ramos, um, he just looks in really bad shape, and
Yeah.
his dad had said that he's usually a very buoyant, happy kid, but now he's seeing a whole different side of his child who's very depressed and scared. So I'm just trying to set this up for people who aren't familiar with the situation.
Yeah.
So that is going on, and Americans who have conscience are going there to protest that atrocity, that illegal, um, horrific decision made by the Trump administration. Let's not mince hairs here, mince
Yeah.
words. And you go and you are part of a group of people who say, this is not right. this is not American, and you get a chemical agent put on you. This is what is going on in America right now. And
Absolutely.
I just want to drive that point home before we go further.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like Liam represents all the children and all the families that are still in there and have been in these circumstances for a long time, who have committed no crimes, who have had no adjudication, anything. And so our delegation went at the same time that the congressional oversight group was there.
oh,
So
okay.
we went to coincide with Julian Castro and Jasmine Crockett's visit
Oh, good,
so
good,
that
good.
we could make sure that as much international attention was paid to that. And
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me emotional that like in less than 4 days, they were back. Like Liam and his dad got sent back. Now, did they get sent back to an occupied state of Minnesota? They did, but they're home. And so it's like if that combination of public pressure
Yeah.
and legal, like if you get a chance, folks, look up the judge's ruling about how Liam and his dad needed to be sent back because it is fierce. Like the
Is that the 3 page
yes.
ruling? Yes, I've heard about this.
Yes, it's like 3 pages. It's either some scripture at the bottom of, like it's just excellent.
Yeah.
So like community pressure, media, the judge, and all of that. So it's like we were able to accomplish that for that family. That tells me we can accomplish that for everyone.
That's right.
Like we can get everybody free. The things that the people of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities in Minnesota are doing, and that others have done in Chicago and in other places, all different ways that we are fighting fascism and tyranny, like it is working.
Yeah.
And so I that's the main thing I need people to know. Like as tired and sad as I am in the aftermath of that state violence, I do believe that we will win.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
For so many years, especially during like the Iraq War, which I protested in a couple times, it felt like we're going to do this because we have conscience and we have to, but it's not really going to have an impact. But to see the impact that the protests are having is so important and redeeming and just affirming. And it's also like, if somebody tells you, well, it's the government, I have no power, you can just say, no, you can show up to protests and you'll be adding to the numbers, or
Yeah.
what have you. So it's in that sense, it seems really validating that these protests are having an impact and they're growing, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, and the
Um,
other thing I really want people to know, if it's okay for me to be on
please,
my
please.
soapbox a little bit,
No, no.
is,
Go ahead.
because I'm a public figure, I lead a justice organization here in Texas. So in addition to my role as the leader of Parker Woodland, like these two things are related. Our music is political, and my work as a justice leader also includes the arts. So if you're interested, we can talk about how all that weaves together. But either way, I'm sort of a public figure times two, and it's important to me that people, when they see me, like in Texas Monthly or The Guardian or anything like that, out there, for them to know that that doesn't also mean that they have to go and put themselves at risk. Like they
Right.
actually, we really, really, really do need everybody to think about what is the right lane for them. And like phone calls, like
Yeah.
we're part of this phone call blitz right now for the next 2 weeks, where for the entirety of business hours, we have an unbroken chain of people making phone calls to 3 key congressional leaders about ending ICE funding. And it's
Mhm.
like, that's important. Emails are important. Letters to the editor. I always tell people, like, you don't get the paper anymore. Those folks in Washington get the paper.
Yeah.
Like, the people who have billions of dollars, someone gets the paper, like, so just the things that people can do from home. And like
Delivering food to immigrant families.
meals. Yes,
Yeah.
like the money that people, like, never discount giving money because we need the fuel for the work and taking care of each other. And then, I mean, the thing that you probably want, and I always love to talk about, is artists. Like, we
Yeah,
need the music, we need the art, we need the storytelling.
that's right.
We really do.
Yeah. Um, Among your musician peers, are you finding that how have you seen the evolution of sentiment or changing of sentiment, in the last 6 months. I've interviewed, like I think I said, about 100 artists for this, and I've interviewed a lot of artists who haven't wanted to participate because they don't want to do politics. And my response has always been, this is so much bigger than politics, and I get that there's some bands that are just trying to make ends meet, but it's like this is a time to show who you are and who your principal. People will respect you and go to your shows if they consider you to be a principled artist. So how do you respond to, artists who are kind of on the fence or not sure or that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, Parker Woodland played one of our biggest shows recently, which was at this thing called Free Week Festival in Austin. We played at the Mohawk, and which is like a great stage here, and we all came out in a matching Abolish ICE shirts. And this was before the Alex Preddy killing, but it was the weekend after Renee Good's murder. And I just people respond. It can seem maybe trivial, like, oh, it's a shirt, but it's not. It's creating a container where people can respond and find other people to be in it with. So I feel like anything artists can do, it really really does matter, and it's super super beyond politics. Good God, like we need to get back to a place where there's multiple parties that can have policy discussions, that it's not a like cult of personality and yada yada. Like we've got a long way to go to get back to even that. But anyway, in terms of other artists, I'm loving seeing absolutely any artist putting forth whatever they can put forth. Some people it's for social media, some people it's writing a new song, some people it's what they're wearing. I love it. And I do see folks kind of like here in Austin, we have a big Americana scene. Parker Woodland is more like political punk meets like indie pop, but we have a lot of friends in the Americana scene. And I am seeing a lot of them having to be like, no, I'm not gonna shut up. No, like shut up and sing, like people will say, it's just like, and they're like, no, you don't have to come to my shows. If you thought for a second that I was gonna be quiet about this, no. So my hat is off to those artists who, like for us, like there was no doubt where Parker Woodland was gonna be coming from the day this band was started. But for those for whom it's a risk to their audience and their livelihood, like I especially like high fives and rock horns to them.
Yeah, yeah. I just interviewed yesterday another awesome band called Fuck Money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you familiar with
Uh-huh.
them?
Oh yeah. Awesome.
They're yeah, they uh came at it from a bit of a different angle, but are very much trying to find ways to get involved and to resist.
Ooh, I can't wait to
Um,
hear that interview. That's awesome.
Thanks. Um, so do you find I mean, it sounds, I'm probably going to answer my own question here, but like, is there, when you decided to do the Ice song, did you have any second guesses at all? Sounds like probably not. Like, you just,
Well, I mean, some of the things that I think about are like what role we play as a white band in particular.
oh,
We're a trio and we're white. The Equals was the first, I forget what terminology they used at the time in the 60s, but like interracial band in England, like rock band at the time. And I have had experiences running from police, but usually I've been running alongside friends of color in that moment. It's not the same. I don't have the same day-to-day fear because of my skin. So, weighing what's the appropriate song, but this song it has become part of the fabric of Parker Woodland. The response has been so strong. So I'm really proud of it. And it was our first song that we all recorded, engineered, produced everything as a band.
awesome.
Our guitar player produced and mixed it. And we had these moments of talking about, like, you'll listen to it. One thing that's different in it from the Clash version or the Equals version is during kind of the breakdown I whisper a little bit, and then and I'm doing the first verse essentially, and then the last line, the line of the song is, there was a shooting, police on my back, and the victim, well, he won't come back. And so we, instead of finishing the verse, we go, and the victim, and then it's just quiet. And so like it was to represent that disappearing that ICE does to people, where like you have your neighbor and then they're gone. Those kids had Liam as a classmate in their pre-K class, and then he's gone. So we were just really thinking about how we could best convey the moment we're in. So I'm proud for that song to come out, and I'm thankful to the Equals for the incredible song that they wrote. And now we go back to writing, because we have a new record that we're working on. And next the question is like, yeah, what is the song that we're gonna write? But it just, in the meantime, we just couldn't. It just, I felt like that song needed, and it's also, I think it's the first time like to have a female vocalist on
Uh-huh.
that song. So that's something new that we're bringing to it, I guess.
It's very cool. Yeah. When you're
Thanks.
at the facility, were you were you detained?
No. So it's probably just worth telling you a little bit more about me. So I'm a Unitarian Universalist minister.
Hmm.
So I was part of a group of clergy. I'm not a church minister. I lead the Justice Network for the entire denomination for Texas. So I had my collar and my yellow stole on and my Abolish ICE t-shirt. So that's my new favorite uniform. And there were nuns, there were, all kinds of clergy, and then community members and everything. And so our intention was to hold a vigil where people who have been detained could talk and people could hear their story. So we had a 13-year-old girl who had been detained as a young child, and she talked. And we have that live streamed on my organizational page. It's called the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. And then we had another speaker, someone who had lived in sanctuary at a congregation. Sometimes our congregations will actually have people live there to protect them from ICE. And she lived in one of our congregations for a couple of years. I know. I'm proud of the work. There's a lot of things that religion does wrong, but my denomination does a lot of justice work. So our intention was to go there with a real demonstration of what peace looks like,
Yeah.
to show that in the face of this ongoing state violence. And so that's why it was extra disheartening to be met with the violence we were met with. There were other folks there too who were, yelling, and their grounding was not in that sort of space we were in. And that's their right. They
Yeah.
have, it's like
Thank
they have
you.
every right to be mad. They have every right to be yelling. And it's the state's job to keep people safe,
Yeah.
which is not what they did.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that's our intention, was not to get arrested in that space in particular.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm not a
Oh,
gun guy, but Alex Pretty had the right to have a gun on
exactly.
this person. You know,
Exactly.
you know, what what are your feelings about, like, not necessarily your immediate peers, but just like the larger music community across the country, how they're responding to what's going on? Do you think people are too slow on the trigger? Do you think people are rising up to the challenge? Do you think it's just taking longer than it should? What do you kind of think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will say that our single benefits, the Texas Civil Rights Project, I should have said that, are the Abolish ICE shirts that Parker Woodland is selling, and the single proceeds are going to that civil rights organization here,
I'll
which
put
does a
links.
lot of this work.
I'll put links in the YouTube.
Cool. Cool. And that is just to say that I don't really feel a lot of judgment toward other artists, because I know that everyone has to discern what their role is. What I did love as a starting point last night was the Grammys. So there was a lot there, and I just think that it really matters. Those of us who are on the front lines and really in it day to day, it can be hard to understand how there are many more people who don't really know what's going on as well. And so to have people stand up at the Grammys, I do think it matters. Like to have Bad Bunny say "Ice Out," to have Bad Bunny say "We are human beings, we are your neighbors, we are Americans," and everybody else who, Bon Iver wearing a whistle. People can say that that's minor, but I do think it really matters. And then I also love to see just like grassroots people like Carsey Blanton or, whoever, activist artists. I just think it's just important that everybody have like a moral conversation with themselves,
Yes.
and go, what can I do?
Yeah.
And figure out what you can do.
Yeah. And you brought up morality before when you were the very top of the conversation, and I wanted to get back to that because, I don't know what age you are, but when I was growing up, the moral argument was always something that the conservatives had on their side,
Right.
and you could use against people on the left in any situation and claim morality, but it's gone from moral superiority to moral depravity on their end, I think. And that's an opening for people who care about other human beings and who care about community and their neighbors and in treating people right, taking in the stranger, helping people um, who are poor. There's a real opportunity for people who have been over for decades been castigated as like social misfits or rabble rousers or whatever to show future generations what morality looks like, in action.
Absolutely. I mean, a couple of things that I think about, like I've always said, it's not cleanliness that's next to godliness, it's neighborliness. And
Love it.
like
Love it.
that's what we see, like that and being in the immigrant rights work for quite a while prior to this kind of escalation, and in Texas it's been a thing for a long time. The community says all the time, like, we take care of ourselves, we take care of each
Yeah.
other. The state, we know the state is not here to take care or protect us, we have to protect us. And now I think, white people of who had particular privileges that might have protected us, it's not protecting us anymore, as we're seeing, and we're reckoning with that. But the beauty is, when you stop expecting the state to take
Yeah.
care of you, you realize the true power, the power of neighbors, the power of community, the power of music, the power of art. Like, it really is something. And I also say that, like, I'm just grateful for Parker Woodland, and I bet a lot of bands feel this way. Like, just to have bandmates that I can talk to and that we're in this together. Like, we've done some abolition fundraiser, like for other organizations. We do a lot of LGBTQ, right? Because I mean, the other side, one of the many sides of fascism and tyranny here is the attack on trans rights.
Oh
And
yeah.
so we've been in that for a long time. Carrie, our drummer, and I were the rhythm section of a band called Butch County, which is a trans-led rock band. We were in that band together for 10 plus years. And so, yeah, just like to have bandmates that you're on the same page with, and then to then communicate with your fans and your network. Like, the label we're on, Flack Records, is like very, very progressive, so it feels good as a band to be in it together.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I imagine, given what you said during this conversation, that you're very much in the moment right now. Do you have anything you'd like to share about where you think things might be going, or what might be happening, what might happen in the coming months or years or whatever?
Sure. Oh my gosh. Thanks for asking. Um, so, hmm. Well, I guess I want to continue to say to people, like, hold your hope, right? If we can get a little boy and his dad free, we can get everybody free. Um, and another piece of hope out of Texas for you right now is, there was a seat, and I would have to go and Google it, but in Tarrant County, that just flipped by like a 30-point margin,
Yeah.
from somebody GOP to not just a Dem, but a labor guy.
Yeah.
And labor movements have always been and are an important part of this struggle. And so to see that turn in Texas, like, I was I go to Zumba, like dance is one of my spiritual joy practices. So I was talking and I wore my Abolish ICE shirt to Zumba at the YMCA today. I was like, I dare anyone to come at me with this when we're in a Zumba class dancing to Bad Bunny, in Texas. So, but all my friends there were,
Love it.
asking where they could get them, and we were talking about our hope. And I just said, like, please just remember, we got those people free, and we've turned that seat in Tarrant County. Just
Yeah,
keep telling people because we need people to understand that it can work and it is working. And then the election. I mean, like we've got to get everybody on the ground
yeah.
to ensure a fair and free election. My organization helps people get trained up as like poll workers, poll observers,
Mhm.
in safety work related to that. So like, but again, you come back to neighbors, right? People will vote if their neighbor goes, "Have you voted yet?"
Right.
Because nobody wants the shame of telling their neighbor, "No, I didn't go. I was too tired."
Yeah.
Like just checking in on all your friends and being that annoying person in the group text I think it's important,
Absolutely.
but I really, as somebody who's been interested in and really like passionate about abolition in different ways since childhood, really, um, because I'll never forget when I found out about the death penalty as a child, and I just was like, our government can kill people? Like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And so, but just understanding that we want to abolish ICE, but what we really want is an abolition of the prison industrial complex. I speak for Parker Woodland. And a lot of us in this work.
And you speak for Dwight Eisenhower for crying out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I just, if anybody's, what I'm excited about is that there's all these people freely using the word abolition now, which
Yeah.
we did not have 2 months ago. It
Yeah.
sucks that we have martyrs to get there and people's lives are still at risk.
Yeah.
And this is ongoing every day, but we've got people talking about abolition like we've never had before.
Yeah.
And so now we help people understand that if you hate this that ICE is doing, that's what they've been doing to all of our communities of color all along.
Right.
And we've got to cut that, we've got to stop it all.
Mhm.
And that it's possible, that another world is possible. Like that's the minister in me. Another world is possible.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this way. We're gonna have to get creative together. So
Especially if these neighborhoods and communities, like true communities,
yes.
not just the corporate, kind of neutering of the term, but the actual definition of community and neighborhoods. If those can stay together after this is all done, you know, then we'll have the building blocks for a better society, you know. You
Yes.
know?
Yes. Thank you for putting
Um,
it that way.
yeah.
Yes. Like, I'm sorry we're having to do this work. And you're right. This is the building blocks for a better society.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you're on that level, and it also kind of traces back to the COVID thing when people were using their whistles to, or was it pans that people were ringing at like the end of the day? I don't know if you remember that.
No,
It
tell
was like,
me.
it was something like around I think it was 5 p.m. every day. I'm in Idaho, so maybe it's
Oh,
just in certain parts of the country, but at like 5 o'clock every day, people would like rattle their pans to let their neighbors know that they were okay. And so you'd hear these like pans in the,
wow.
that
I
kind of
do
thing.
have like a vague
You know what I'm talking
recollection now
about?
that,
I
yeah.
could be, I think I might be slightly off about that, but
No, that does sound
um,
familiar. But and also just like all the driveway hangs and all the like birthday
yeah.
party yard processions, just like all the ways that we've found to stay connected in the face of something so hard. So I think we learned a lot
Yeah.
through that.
And if we can just keep those communities intact and, you know, this is a definitely a stretch, but maybe we can defeat AI along with it.
Tell me about it. That's another Parker Woodland is I've done some interviews about AI too. It's just like, man,
Yeah.
God. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't even get me started.
Well, no. So what's next
Uh,
on we just got a few minutes here. What's next on your agenda? What do you got coming up?
well,
More
in the
actions?
immediate
Yeah.
I'm actually going to speak against like AI and surveillance at Austin City Hall, like right after this call. So I'll go do that. The band is
Dynamo. Dynamo.
Yeah, it's a busy time. I like to say it's a vibrant time, although right now it's like that's not even that word is too nice. But Parker Woodland is a full-time band of best friends, so we squeeze every moment of getting to do music that we possibly can. We're working on an acoustic record right now, just because we in these justice spaces and in the like sort of UU church spaces, we often end up doing some acoustic versions of like The World's on Fire, or the song The Reckoning is about militarized capitalism and its impact on the earth. And it's real rock. But then we do this like acoustic version in the church and people hear it in this whole different way. So we were like, let's record an acoustic album. So that's coming. It's got a few of the songs from There's No Such Thing as Time in this stripped down way. And then it's got new songs. And then we'll get to work on like the full electric next thing. So we'll be doing South by Southwest again this year. So
Cool.
for those who come down for that, I'm a native Austinite, so the child in me is always excited to do South by Southwest, even though it is also, has a lot of corporate behemoth stuff going on.
Sure.
But we'll hope to meet like-minded musicians. If you're going to South by Southwest and you're an abolitionist, trans rights activist, come find me.
Awesome. Yeah, and Police on My Back is out now. It came out on Friday on Flack Records, so people can grab that. It's a single. Um, and there's a B-side to Get Me to the Show that people can enjoy as well. And then would you direct people probably to your Bandcamp page? Is it the best place?
Yeah. Yeah, you can go to our website. It's just parkerwoodland.com, or to parkerwoodland.bandcamp.com for all the vinyl and downloads and shirts and fun stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Gosh,
Thank you.
it's people like you who are making a huge difference here. And I know just hearing in the space of the span of the small conversation, just hear how much you've done, how much you're up to, and your peers, and it's just that's what's inspiring people to get activated and motivated. So I really, really appreciate your work and what you're doing, and I'm very, very grateful to have touched base with you and met you in this virtual capacity. So
Thank you. And thank you for doing this series. I think every bit that we can talk about these things and find each other matters. So I hope to see you again in real life, even.
yeah,
Um,
I agree. I hope to see you soon, and let's maybe stay in touch. Maybe we'll do
yeah,
round two sometime.
yeah. I would love for you to meet Andrew and Carrie. They're also super awesome. We're all just pulled in a lot of directions in Texas right now. So thank you for those good thoughts. I will say one other thing for people who do go to like protests or